Faith without works is dead. What this phrase is saying, what this scripture from the Bible is saying, is that having faith without putting any action behind it is pretty much useless, ineffective, is void, is toxic positivity. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about toxic positivity. So this is when you think about being positive. You think about somebody who can keep a smile on their face no matter what they're going through. You always see them with a smile on their face, which that's what you want to aim for. You strive to be positive. You strive to live in heaven on earth, so you strive to be in a happy mood, to be positive all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. With toxic positivity, what you run into, you will find that the actions don't quite meet up with what you see. So you will see somebody smiling, you will see them throwing around the catchphrases, or, sometimes the laugh may sound false. Um, the phrases just may be a little too chipper, you know, um, but the actions don't quite line up. So you're being positive all the time. I see you speaking. I see you smiling. I see you, acting happy. I see you saying all the right words, but you still have ill intent. You still are doing negative things behind the scenes. So toxic positivity is faith without works. Toxic positivity is being positive without action, without positive action behind it. If you have toxic positivity with negative actions, or toxic positivity, well, if you have positivity with negative actions, or positivity with ill intention, that's manipulation. That's delusion. That's not real. That's a facade. That's a mask. That's putting on just to get along. You're acting happy. Like I said, you're saying all the positive words, all the catchphrases, but your heart really doesn't line up with it. Now, when you're striving to actually be positive, then behind the scenes, you are doing positive things. That means that you are listening to positive things. You don't participate in gossip. You are doing positive things. But if your actions behind the scene is negative, then you can't have positive thoughts that come to mind, because you're feeding yourself negativity. So out of your mouth, you will speak what is in your heart. So what are you feeding your heart? Your mind is going to think what you are feeding your heart. You feed your heart, it goes to your mind, and it comes out your mouth. So what are you feeding your heart? Are you feeding it negative things? Are you listening to gossip? Are you participating in gossip? Are you listening to negative music? Are you watching negative shows? Are you, are you going to places that, brings up chaos? Are you in chaotic environments? Or are you trying to live a life of peace? That's not saying you have to be bored. That's not saying that you have to be bored. That's not saying that you have to do nothing. Is your intention for saying that positive thing or putting that smile on your face, is that intention to manipulate, or is that intention actually to cause someone else to put a smile on their face? Because with this toxic positivity, you have this phenomenon of the nice nasty. You have people that try to be nice in a nasty way. You know, they try to be condescending with a smile on their face. But just because you had a smile on your face, then people are expected to read what you show them. But what happens when you encounter somebody who can read the nastiness that underlies that niceness? When they can read the undertone for what you're saying or what you're showing. So although you have this friendly look on your face, but you are saying something that's condescending and underhanded, which is ill intent, which is manipulation, because you're trying to confuse someone with your expressions and your actions. What you're really trying to do at this point, you're really trying to throw off to any onlookers. So that way the onlookers won't be able to tell that you really have ill intentions. Onlookers won't be able to pick up the nice nasty because someone looking across the room will only read your expression. So when they're looking at your expression, they don't see anything that's off. They see a kind smile on your face, or at least a smile on your face. And most people don't really look, they glance at people. They don't really pay attention to people. They just glance, and at first glance, they see a smile. So that's the nice nasty. But we all know that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So as I said, whatever you're feeding your heart, then that goes to the mind and out of your mouth. So if you have a hardened heart, if you have a dark heart, then the things that you're going to feed your mind and the things that come out of your mouth are going to be just that. So with toxic positivity, the issue is inauthenticity. It's that you're not being honest. It's basically a lie. But it becomes delusional when you believe it. When you believe that what you are doing or saying is actually positive. When you believe that it's actually the truth. When you believe that you're actually doing a good job by being manipulative. That's not saying that you have to go around with a frown on your face the whole time, because I understand why people will do it. Sometimes people may do it because you don't want to burden someone else with your problem. So I understand that. But when that becomes your personality, when, like I said, when you're doing it, but the work is not behind it, when you're not doing whatever it takes to get you out of that negative space, to get you into a positive space so that your actions can meet up with the expression that you're showing. So in this world that we're in today, where we have a lot of inauthentic people, we have a lot of, masks. We have a lot of people that are delusional. We have a lot of people that are in well, I've said that it's inauthentic, but you have a lot of people that have um mean spirits, and they do ill intention behind the scene. They throw a rock and hide their hand. That is so common now. And people almost do that with a badge of honor, because if they don't get caught. And what that is, that's basically you're trying to lure that other person to react in public off of what you're doing behind the scenes. So when that person reacts, then they look like they're the negative one. So you win this false one-sided contest of who can be toxic the best, who can be the most toxic person. And when you engage in that type of banter, then you're feeding the delusion. Now you have stepped onto that person's playing field. So don't feed the delusion. Don't react, you only respond. Don't react to someone else's nice nasty, to someone else's toxic positivity. If they want to be toxic, then you allow them to be toxic by themselves. If they want to play a game, you allow them to play a game by themselves. Adults should not play games unless it's board games in a group setting. Life is not a board game. There is a board game called life, but life itself, the life that we live every day, is not a board game. And people should stop treating it as such. But when you have all of this falseness going on in the world, it becomes hard for people to tell what's truth and what's untruth. It becomes hard for people to tell if they are being truthful with themselves. Because what they see in the media is people showing the toxic positivity. You have to search for people doing the actual work that it takes to actually be positive. You have to search for that. But you can easily find toxic positivity. You can easily find toxic, period. But you have to go and seek out people doing the healing work. So seek out people that are doing the healing work. The same way that you seek out to find how to fake be positive, find out how to really be positive. Share this video with someone else who may can, benefit from the information given. Do the healing work. Figure out what is it that is causing you to not truly be positive. Work on that. Stay away from negativity. So these are just some things to be aware of. These are just some things so that you can recognize toxic positivity from someone who is authentically positive. There's a difference. Toxic positivity is faith without works. Toxic positivity is when your actions don't quite match up with your words. Toxic positivity is when the vibe is off. Toxic positivity is when they're this way in front of people in a completely different way behind closed doors. That's not saying that, when you're around people, of course, you're going to be a little more happier. You're going to smile a little more often than you would behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, you are going to be comfortable, but it shouldn't be the complete opposite. When it's the complete opposite, that's you're seeing signs of toxic positivity at that point. Even that phrase together, those are complete opposites. Toxic and positivity are complete opposites. So that's what you would see. You would be confused. You wouldn't quite know what you're looking at. They act happy. They always at a party. They always smiling. They always joking. But they speak to everybody. Okay, that almost sound like a robot. With a robot, you can program it to do all of those same things. Someone who is authentically positive, they're positive no matter when you encounter them. Now, that's not saying that if you catch them in, you know, like everyone has bad days now. I'm not saying that you're never gonna have a bad day. I'm not saying that because this is life. Things happen. So I'm not saying that you will never have a bad day. But you should have more good days than bad days. I'm not saying that you will never be in a bad mood. That's not reality. We have things that may upset us. We have things that may bother us. We have people that may intentionally upset and bother us. So if you get mad, that's not saying that you're not a positive person. If you get angry or if you feel away, that's not saying that you're not a positive person. And that's the thing that people don't understand. People almost feel like that if you get angry or if you get upset, then you must not be a positive person just because the other person didn't say that they was angry or mad. See, the thing is, it's almost like people feel that just because you say it, that means that it's true. So if you're brave and courageous enough to admit and to show your feelings, that's actually a healthy trait. That's healthy. You're able to express your emotions. But just because this person didn't say that they was angry, or they didn't say that they was feeling away, or they did not express it, then that means that they were not. So they hide it until they get behind closed doors. And then when they come back around, they do the passive aggressive thing and then show the toxic positivity. So you see, there's a difference, and people get confused with it. Just because someone can express themselves properly in a healthy way, that doesn't mean that they are the toxic one. When you're not able to express yourself, that's being toxic because you're not being honest. You're not being authentic. So let's recognize real from fake. And it's almost like you have to retrain your brain to recognize the real from the fake because we see so much fake nowadays. We got fake hair, we got fake lashes, we got fake nails, we got fake bodies, we got fake teeth, we got fake eyes, we got fake everything. Before long, you may be able to change your shoe size. I don't know. So the world is built on fakeness. It's built on artificial, um, it's built on sedatives. It's built on sedation. Like we want to lull the world to sleep. We want to lull each other to sleep and to just hypnotize each other to believe whatever it is that we allow, what we choose to come out of our mouths, because we're not courageous enough. We're not courageous enough to say what we really feel. We're not courageous enough to say what we really mean. It takes courage to express yourself, to express your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions. That takes courage. That doesn't mean that that person is weak because they expressed that they were hurt. Only a toxic mindset will see someone being courageous and vulnerable enough to express themselves. Only a toxic mindset will see that as being weak. So let's be able to recognize what's healthy and what's unhealthy, what's real and what's fake. We got AI now that's able to mimic and to create and recreate pretty much anything that you can think of. And that's kind of scary. And we continue to feed it by giving it information. So that builds up the database for it to pull from. So we are making artificial intelligence intelligent. Before long, it will be as intelligent, well, it's already more intelligent as a lot of humans. Before long, we will probably have artificial intelligent people walking around, working jobs. There was a movie that I seen, I believe it was on Netflix, where they had a kid, where a scientist built a child in a lab where it was a robot, but it looked like a human. It acted like a human. So how long would it be before we have that in real life? Before our kids are going to school with robots that look just like them. So you can't tell off first glance. We have people that don't want to look like they're aging. So you have all types of surgeries where you can look 20, 30 years younger. You have people that don't want to look like you had a baby, which I get it. I get it. I was still, I still try to lose my baby fat now, and my youngest is an adult. So I get it. I understand the, wanting to not show things. I do understand that. But when is real accepted? When is real promoted? When is real celebrated? when it's real on the front cover. We have to stop switching the roles and seeing unhealthy as being healthy, seeing um, seeing things the opposite way from reality. So these are just some things to think about. Toxic positivity is on the come up. We see it all the time. We see it every day. But do we recognize it? Do we recognize toxic positivity from actual positivity? Do we recognize real from fake? Do we recognize authenticity from inauthenticity? Do we recognize artificial intelligence versus true intelligence? Do we recognize um, pure intentions versus ill will? These are just some questions to ask yourself. These are just some things to kind of pay attention to and be on the lookout for. So until next time, stay vigilant and be real.